Salam. Peace. Hotep. Another another class today. Want to rise and give honors to the Prophet Noble Drew Ali. Want to rise and give prophet to give honors to Allah. We want to give highest honors to all the Moors everywhere, all over the world, because calls are coming in, right? Calls are coming in. Like calls are coming in. Why? How come calls are coming in? How come people in Switzerland and people in UK and people in Netherlands and Germany are calling Canaanland to find out about Moorish history and all this? Why? Why is it? Right? Bobby Hemmett came to Toronto. We brought him here before we were even on this information, and we were just on metaphysics. And Bobby Hemmett came to Toronto and told everybody in Toronto that Toronto is the pineal gland of consciousness. That he came from the lower base chakra, Atlanta, and came to Toronto and was like minus 30 or something that night. And we were in a building with no heat because we're fighting these dirty Moors who back then we didn't know they were dirty Moors, they're just dumb niggers that have a Garvey Center, right? Big building, huge building, huge building. Talk about it already, right? Huge building. They could add their own everything in that building that they got for $1. And what they do? Nothing with it. Why? Because they didn't know about the Prophet Noble Drew Ali, right? We didn't know about the Prophet Noble Drew Ali, but we did know about Orishas, and we did know about ancestors, and we did know about libation, and we did know about tapping into, higher heights, right? So we had a frequency, and you realize that the thing that Noble Drew Ali did that nobody wants to acknowledge is that he took all the secrets away, right? That's how you free people. You want to free people? You don't dangle stuff in their face for them to jump at, right? Took away all the secrets from everybody. Exposed everybody. Noble Drew Ali, who nobody knows about. Exposed everybody. What fraud they're going to do, when they're going to do it, how it's going to do, and all that is called prophecy. All right? So today, right, we're just gonna do the usual, because you already know what we do, right? But it's all about recognizing that people have made it a duty, whether they do it from the perspective of getting bought off, right? Straight just taken, or they're just dumb niggers, right? And they need to get slapped up a couple times, more times than they've been getting slapped up, for them to realize that it's all about nationality and birthrights. Nobody else getting slapped up but us. Nobody else getting police killing people on camera, right? Keep in mind, the idea is to disassociate you from Noble Drew Ali by any means necessary, right? Speaking about that with Lil Kim and this foolishness, right? Who cares what that plastic girl does? She could have a picture of Noble Drew Ali up there talking about niggers or whatever. I don't care. She's a dumb nigger. What do you expect from a dumb nigger? She's going to use a picture of Malcolm X in Black History Month and make an ass out of herself. for the whole entire world, cooning. Same reason why Dave Chappelle walked away. They want to disassociate you by any means necessary from Noble Drew Ali. That's why you never heard about him. That's why you just heard about him 5 years ago, 7 years ago, 10 years ago. Even if you heard about Noble Drew Ali 40 years ago, there's still 60 years of activity of Moorish movement that you had nothing to do with, that you missed out on. Why? Because people want to disassociate you from Noble Drew Ali and have you looking at some guy that says he's the whatever. Right? And Moors who realize what this is, like you really realize what this is. Not playing around for yourself. You go to wherever it is that you go within yourself and you know that this is what it is, right? Our duty is uplifting fallen humanity because all these people never did their job for 100 years. That only a few people know about Noble Drew Ali on the scale of North America, the islands, and people who are so-called Negro black colored people, right? Moors know. And then there's Negro black colored people who know. But all those guys are agents that know. And their job was to disassociate you from Noble Drew Ali, right? Because he's the founder. He's the founder of being able to propagate Islamism in America. He started that. Whatever branches of Islamism you hear people claim that they're repping, right? Before 1913, when Noble Drew Ali did what he did, they were just playing around with it. He kickstarted everybody. He kickstarted the Vatican. He kickstarted everybody. And everybody else used whatever they got from studying the Prophet and disassociate you from the Prophet and have you chasing after these clowns who've been studying the Prophet for 80 years and they never told anybody because that'll give up the game. Disassociate, to detach from association. Detach. All right? So they want to detach you from the noble prophet Drew Ali, who they said, this is, right, the so-called people who are in power, right? They've said that the United States Constitution is founded on Muslim law in the public arena for everybody to hear. And everybody in the world know that when you say Muslims, you're talking about Sufis and mystical level of Islam, which are the Moors. And everybody else is playing around with this. So they already know what's up. The whole entire world knows what's up, right? This is Noble Drew Ali, right? And one again, because most people like to say, proof and all this type of stuff. They don't want proof from nobody else. But when it comes to Noble Drew Ali, we always have to prove something, right? But you're not gonna go validate nobody else. So this is Noble Drew Ali right here. If you've never seen him, should have seen him by now. And this is a picture of him. This is not a drawing, right? This is a picture of him, okay? A black and white picture. All right? So he's a man that existed. So he did stuff, just like every other man, Marcus Garvey, Elijah Muhammad, whoever, W. Du Bois, whoever, right? That you look at it and you say, oh, okay, well, that guy did something. Okay, well, same thing with Noble Drew Ali. But you don't know about him, and you don't know about what he did. But you know about what everybody else did. And everything that everybody else is telling you has you under the jurisdiction of these foreign European colonizers, inquisitionists, and you're complaining about it. About why you have to pay taxes. Why you have to pay taxes? Because You're just finding out about Noble Drew Ali right now. That's why you have to pay taxes. If you knew about him since you came out your mom, you wouldn't be paying taxes right now. Right? But their job is to disassociate you from the Prophet Noble Drew Ali. This is oral statements and prophecies of Prophet Noble Drew Ali. Right? People are gonna bring up stuff. Well, how do we know he said it? How do we know it's really him that said it? How do we know this guy's not whatever and this guy's not whatever? You guys don't even question the news like that when they tell you some foolishness. Y'all go with what the news say. Y'all go with the fact that, whatever team beat whatever team in hockey. You don't question nothing. But we talk about oral statements of Noble Drew Ali, who Morris says a prophet. Everybody, you can't make him a prophet and whatever. This is not nothing up for debate. We're not debating with people. We're not trying to show a perspective so people could get down with something so this could be cool again. Morris been around. All nations will turn against the United States one day. All right? So that's prophecy. Remember, this is 1900s that he's talking. And he's saying that all nations are going to turn against the United States one day. We're seeing that right now. Just with the simple fact that these guys' allies aren't even bailing them out with their bailout packages. It's China, India, and these people who's bailing them out and giving them money, financing them. So nobody has trust in the United States right now. Plus, everybody knows since James Traficant, 93 at least, at the latest 93, everybody heard and found out that they're bankrupt, insolvent. They're operating in name only. Everybody knows that. They're strictly operating in name only. So all the nations are against them. One day the United States will not be able to do any business unless they do it through the Asiatics. They wouldn't be able to do any business unless they do it through the Asiatics. That's going on right now. And it wasn't going on back then. Because back then they had allies and they were going all over the world and digging up people's tombs and finding stuff and coming back and taking pictures of all the stuff they brought back and all that. Right? So that time for them is over. Everybody knows that a prophet came, took the land grant, back, had all these people with so-called delegates of Indian nations or whatever, sitting in some meeting waiting for the Prophet Noble Drew Ali to come. But they're sitting waiting for him. Well, you can't say that because, there's no record of the past. You don't hear that they're trying to disassociate you from Noble Drew Ali? So anything that has to do with him has to be immediately taken off the planet? Because that's the only thing that's going to save these Asiatics that claim that they're free and claim that they're this and they're sovereign and, they can do this and they can do that, but your people are suffering? And you're too worried about fame and nobility to wake up people. There are people coming from Barbados that they're on this information. Barbados. That they're on this information. For like 3 years or something like that. Systems has fallen. Noble Drew Ali called it. And nobody wants to recognize him as, he did something. Everybody wants to play. As soon as we bring up Noble Drew Ali's name, right? As soon as we bring up Noble Drew Ali's name, somebody wants to debate something that he had. Right? When all these frauds that they've been following learn from the Prophet Noble Drew Ali. Documented fact. like documented fact. And their job is to disassociate you, while in the back, hiding underneath whatever, they're associating with Noble Drew Ali on some levels that you don't even know it was this high. So you listening to them. When Prophet came, told people, anytime a Muslim goes into a church for any reason, it ceases to be a church and it's a temple. Right? Took away all the secrets. You have no excuse not to go to the quote unquote black church and go tell them about some more science. Right? Fez is up and all that. Just like with Brother Amari out here, right? Went to the Catholic church with the Filipinos or whatever, sitting in there with his fez on. They straight told him, without words, get out. Just because. And then he goes outside, and there's an elder Filipino man outside crying. And then he looks at Amari and gives him the thumbs up. And this man's crying. And he told me that this is not what it's about. Right? That this elder probably went back to some Filipino Inquisition stuff that his family went through. In that same Catholic whatever. That all of these Filipinos, they go to that and say that, yeah, we're Catholic people and all this type of stuff out here. And this one elder left the service to come outside the place to bawl his eyes out. Because he saw more. Right? Crazy. I am the fifth and last prophet. Taking away all the secrets. So don't tell me about no Muhammad, Jesus, and Heru, and all the Quetzalcoatl and all of that. Forget all that. Forget all of that. Because he even broke it down to there's 5 main ones. And that's standard across the planet. Even though there's, 25, 30 or more crucified saviors. Right? All the principles and the lesser known ones, they got 5. Top 5. 5 best plays, 5 best whatever. Okay, the top 5 prophets. And he's letting everybody know that he's the last one. I am the 5th and last prophet, and I am 5 times more powerful than I was before. We as a people were buried 5 times deeper in sinful ways than any nation enslaved before us. Letting you know, everybody's been enslaved. Taking away all the secrets. Not these guys got slavery and these guys didn't because they had the power with the boats, and everybody got enslaved. So the slavery is not an argument now because everybody got it. So don't even bring it up. The holy prophet was ordained by the great God to be 5 times greater and more powerful than the prophets. Taking away everything, letting you know there's more than one, so don't play your one is the good one and don't follow those guys one. Prophets. So all of them were on an equal plane. Muhammad was the seal of the prophets to bring the tenets of Islam. Yet every major prophet is the last prophet to be raised from amongst those of his especial nation to be redeemed. So prophets only come to nations. Prophets don't come to tribes and what, you're out the equation. Because the human family is broken down into nationalities. And you could only, either you're European, Albion, Paleolith, or you're Asiatic, Moabite, Moorish, African, whatever. That's your choices, right? Yet every major prophet is the last prophet to be raised from amongst those of his especial nation to be redeemed. Some Asiatic Muslims is a clear distinction, right, have interpreted this seal of the prophets into the Moorish being unworthy of Allah's love and mercy. After enduring the worst system of chattel slavery ever imposed upon a people and sanctioned by the religions of the earth, having been denationalized and stripped of divine creed, some think the Moorish to remain the rejected cornerstone of the human family. The Moorish have earned the divine right and are most deserving of a holy prophet. No messenger would be apt enough to save us. Surely Allah knows what men know not. That's Noble Drew Ali. Now, if that statement, that paragraph, that article, that maybe it was in Moorish Guide and it went around everywhere, and you're reading that in 1913 to 1929, and that doesn't inspire you to get off the slave ship and get down with your people, for real, then you deserve to be a slave. And don't complain about it, but call it on yourself, right? Because you want handouts from master, right? There's a big problem, and the problem is disassociation. Disconnect you from the prophet and what he brought to get you to have a solid footing when dealing with other nations of the world, so they don't trample over your rights, because we want to pretend that we have some type of authority as black people and Negro people and African Americans and the great black ancient whatever. There's no power in that. That's fiction, right? Like, that's straight fiction. You go follow that if you want to. We're not, right? You go follow that if you want to. But our position is letting people know that they're in the secret background, dungeon, whatever, studying Noble Drew Ali and telling you it's something else. Example. All right, we already went here, but we'll go here again, just because you don't want to get it. Don't want to get it. Page 416. How Noble Drew Ali fits into this equation at first glance might not be as exotic as what I have just said. As the story develops, however, it might be viewed as more exotic. In the end, however, they are both part and parcel of the same principle, declaring your lost heritage as a free and infinite being. The fact that you have been able to read what I have just written is only by the thinnest of threads, most of which you have already read about in this book. Only very few Sea Org members and virtually no Scientologists even know about this de-oppression principle, let alone practice it. There is also a contingent of people who left the church who knew about this but are not in any position for various reasons to publish anything on it. Quite amazingly, it has not shown up on any internet posting boards or Scientology histories. On the other hand, you can make an extensive study of the French Revolution and pretty much come up with the same principles. This is what LRH, right, Hubbard, did, my putting it forth into your consciousness is just like water leaking through. Water is very powerful, even in small doses. It can bore a hole through granite. Just as Noble Drew Ali tried to lift the veil of deception from the Moors and their heritage, so did L. Ron Hubbard try to lift the veil of deception from spiritual beings to their true nature. It is therefore not really ironic that by giving a popular and respectful funeral service for LRH, I literally gated the Moorish Science Temple into my life. I remind you, when LRH wrote his work on oppression, he stated that the only place left in the world with even a vestigial element of freedom was the United States. This can now be attributed directly to the Moors. None of this would be known if it were not for Drew Ali and the dynamic movement he created, which began to flourish and reach critical mass in 1929. The recognition and uncovering of oppression of the Moors is part and parcel of delivering the best promises of what Scientology, in its most exalted aspects, had to offer. Learning and understanding Hubbard's information on suppression and oppression, coupled with his unique viewpoints and other applications, enabled me to perceive and penetrate the unique mysteries of Montauk Point. The growth resulting from these experiences led me to write Synchronicity and the Seventh Seal, which ultimately explains the greatest mystery underlying Western esotericism and the secret formula upon which Christianity was based before being badly distorted. This is the real Da Vinci Code, which gave rise to the Italian Renaissance and which was secretly influenced by the Moors. At the current time, the door to Moorish mysteries is opening far and wide. The age of Pisces is at an end, and the Moors are coming to receive their inheritance. Drew Ali instigated this process when he returned to America and released a publication known as the Circle 7 Quran. While Drew Ali did not deliver the concise formula, as was clearly delineated in Synchronicity and the Seventh Seal, he represented the energy and was the energy of such. Drew Ali was very much part of the mythos and reality that enabled me to write that book. What Drew Ali wrote was geared towards a format that would be accepted by his people at that particular time. It apparently worked quite well. When the Moorish science reached its peak in 1929, it was on the heels of one of the greatest but most dangerous discoveries Drew Ali ever made. For all the people, remember, all the naysayer people, right? All the people who say they're looking for this and looking for that, can't find it, so I'm not going to support Noble Drew Ali because I can't find anything, right? This European's book is in the Library of Congress. So if he has things in his book and it's in the Library of Congress, and the Library of Congress never kicked that book out of the library, obviously everything in that book is true. Because the Library of Congress is the modern day Library of Alexandria, or, you know, ancient Library of Sumer or whatever, right? So if it has the documentation in there, in this man's book right here that we're reading, right, there's nothing to argue. In 1928, Ali attended a Pan-American conference in Havana, Cuba, where he enjoyed broad recognition from a host of other countries. They were, of course, recognizing his sovereign status as a Moorish national, who was representing the ancient empire of Amexem. Keep in mind that other countries had no reason to fear Drew Ali or what he represented. It was at this conference, however, that he received a document which was to change the face of Moorish science forever and would eventually lead to what is known as the Great Schism. That is the name the Moorish community uses to refer to the dispersal of Moorish science into different groups, right? Disassociation. The Great Schism, that is the name of the Moorish community, or that the Moorish community uses to refer to the dispersal of Moorish science into different groups. There's not supposed to be any separation, because in its climax there was unity. Everybody was united as Moors, right? The pendulum was just about to swing on the Moor side completely, but disassociation. The document Drew Ali received was a copy of a mandate whereby the Amexem Empire extended a land grant of the entire Western Hemisphere to certain Europeans. I have not yet seen the document, and its exact contents are highly mysterious, yet its ramifications literally turned the United States of America upside down. Essentially, it leased America to a certain party for a particular number of years, not unlike the way China leased Hong Kong to Great Britain. The lease was up in 2004. It is entirely reasonable to believe that such a document, if it still exists and can be brought to light, is a mere relic of a long forgotten era that has no significant meaning in today's legal system. That would be fine, except for one very important point. If you have truly studied the detailed legal history of the United States of America, you would understand that there is more than a little truth to the prospect of there being such a document. Why? The entire legal history of the United States is predicated on such a proposition. What is known is that Secretary of State Hughes from the U.S. government attended the Pan American Conference and was made privy of this mandate. So were several other heads of state. As a result, a closed-door conference between several nations was held in Geneva, Switzerland, and a labyrinth series of discussions and negotiations began. The Geneva conferences went on for some 5 years, but the records are still kept sealed to this very day. It is known that several international banks called in their loans as a result of this potential legal threat, and the stock market crashed in 1929. Several countries, which included the United States, Portugal, France, and Spain, declared bankruptcy in order that relevant powers could buffer themselves from any potential legal claims. All right? So, JFK, 7 days before his assassination, said, "There's a plot in this country to enslave every man, woman, and child. Before I leave this high and noble office, I intend to expose this plot." Okay? And the reality is, if they can get you to believe that Noble Drew Ali is some pseudo entity that the Moors are using, as, join the Moorish Science Temple, we have a prophet too, just like everybody else. Somebody's trying to play you and divert your attention from Noble Drew Ali, detach you from Noble Drew Ali, because what he brought is for the nations, and he came specifically to the hard-head, stiff-necked, black, Negro, colored Ethiopian people, right? Because their head's the hardest, and their neck's the stiffest than anybody's neck, right? So it's in the Congress, it's in the Library of Congress, right? That 1929 stock market crash, 1928 Pan American Conference, Secretary Hughes was there, and It's documented, right? Now, leading up now, leading up, because remember, it's all about detaching you. So, 1929 to 1933, right? Nobody talks about that time frame. They just start at 1933. Almost like that middle passage didn't exist, right? No, that time was the mad scramble. Because remember, stock market crash 1929, and then 1930, you have all these groups starting to pop up. All these groups just starting to pop up. Remember, Noble Ali died in 1929, right? So the disassociators dispersed. Remember what he said, right? Remember what he said. That is the name of the Moorish community uses to refer to the dispersal of Moorish science into different groups. Not Moorish science into different Moorish groups, Moorish science into groups. And this is the foundation of all the so-called black liberation, whatever, organizations that people follow and that are prominent today. Right? In 1993, James Traficant Jr., representative for Ohio, made this speech and outlined some things that validates what Peter Moon is saying in the Montauk book, right? It opens up the motive, right? We can actually see now why they had to do the whole birth certificate fraud, licenses, socials, blah, 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 create all these contracts and get people to sign names that, you know, it's not really their name, but, you know, we'll give you something and you can just sign it and everything will be cool, right? Not knowing that that's the new plantation. That's the new reserve. Like how the Indians have a reservation, that's how they created it. And the dispersal of the Moorish communities into the groups was to get the people to detach, disassociate themselves from what Noble Drew Ali did and brought, and connect themselves to some group that's calling themselves a nation. So, you know, I mean, they're calling themselves a nation, I guess they're a nation. And get trapped in the whirlpool of, because remember now, once they get you to disassociate from Noble Drew Ali, right? All these other things that you're associating with enforces the disassociation. That's why Moors who are, like when they say Arab chamber, right? And they're talking about Moors who are, you know, they have a certain level of information or whatever. There's Moors that are outside the Arab chamber that are Arab, because they've been through all the schools of thought and they have all the lessons, but they're just missing the nationality part that nobody told them about. All these organizations, from everybody, once they're not talking nationality and birthrights, trust me, they're selling you out. Because status is what sets the position, just like James Traficant. his status was he was part of this fraud. And he's not going down, ruin his reputation, his, you know what I mean, good name or whatever for these fraudsters. So he put them on blast. And they trumped up some charges, locked him up for 9 years, 7 years or whatever, right? And, you know, he's still talking, he's still doing what he usually does, you know. But, you know, it's recognizing, that people have been telling us this stuff. People have been telling us what's up outside of our community. And we don't listen to them because, you know, they don't like they don't like us and our people. And I went to the store and they looked at me bad, or they surrounded me when I was in the store, right? Disassociating ourselves. They could be surrounding you because you're royalty and everybody wants to serve you. But disassociation would get you into that slave mentality, which is what Noble Drew Ali came to get us out of, by letting us associate with the Moors. Don't only disassociate with the Moors, you associate with the Moors, because everybody's associating with the Moors. Right? We'll go there. Because, right? Right? Everybody's associating with the Moors. But trying to get you to disassociate from it. Everybody knows who these two people are. The headwear. Everybody's associating with the Moors. And Negro, black, colored people disassociate. And then people who are coming into this, they're coming into this like, you know, wobbly, because they listen to some guy over there who told them go file some contract with some people and give them this, give them that, and pay them some fee. And now they totally detached now. Because they're like, if that's what this is about, I have nothing to do with this. I might as well just go back to being whatever. When that was the plan, get you detached. For yourself, not because they did something. For you, for yourself in your mind to say, you know what, I don't want nothing to do with the Moors. Once you do that, you just lock yourself off. Until you open it up again, and you know what I mean? Because when you do that, you're going to have all these instances of things coming around with just Moors just slapping you. Just Fez in the news, Fez in a movie. You just Moors just slapping you all over the place. Ancestors just beating you up. Just because. And then you see these things, and you don't think that the ancestors aren't trying to tell you something. With Doctor Who as a Fez, and then now that's like that's like the biggest thing right now. The fact that this every picture, him with the Fez on. There's like thousands, millions of pictures of Doctor Who, all different ones, and the only one that they talk about is the one who wears the Fez. Everybody's associating with this. And, you know, you have a choice. It's yours. You could choose to associate with it or not. It's on you. We're just trying to validate and stress the point. Right? Some people do some stuff in this and get through. Some people do some stuff and they won't get through. That doesn't mean you just detach because you're only focusing on the people who didn't get through. Because there's some people in this who, they have like manufacturers in China that and Chinese are dealing with them, right? Because they recognize what's going on, right? The Moors I'm talking about, who made the contact to call China and say, "Hi, China, how you doing? Oh, Moorish American, where we have an organization, Moorish Science Temple of America. We're looking to get whatever you could supply, at wholesale, because we heard that you are the guys who are supplying these guys who are charging us $800 for fezzes or whatever." And like, oh, all right, cool, and They deal with them. No issue, right? Why? Because that individual knows who they are. Let a black guy try to call China. He's Johnson, whatever, and he wants to make a deal. They're going to rape him. Right? Sell him some bootleg stuff. Because everybody knows. Right? Everybody is associating themselves with the Moors. Right? Try to play you with, you know what I mean, police hand, cop's hand, and saying, oh, well, he's light, so he can get a pass. No, status. Right? Everybody. Like, so-called Indians who made all these treaties and got themselves trapped on reserves and stuff like that. They're associating themselves with the Moors. They're not doing it in public because they're on the reserve. That's why they got them on the reserve. Because if some of them walk around here, you'll be thinking that you're in Moorish America. You see some of these Aboriginal Indians. Look, Master P just did his little video there, going back to his Aboriginal culture and all this. Everybody's trying to associate with the Moors. And at the same time, we've got trying to get you to disassociate. Right? Star Trek. Just you know, Europeans with a black face or whatever with feathers on. Never got mad, oh, they're blackface and that's racist and you have to take that off the air because that's offensive to us. And slapping you with your own stuff. And you don't want it. So they take it, do whatever they want with it. You can't be mad at them. You chose to abandon it. And then Moors come to tell you about it, and you're listening to people whose job it is to disassociate you from Noble Drew Ali. Everybody is getting down or has been down with the Moors. Everyone. Everyone. Why is it so hard for our people to realize that everybody's using Moorish birthright all around the world? Everybody's exercising as Moors, and then Negro black color people are exercising as Negro black color people and want to know why, how come they don't have nothing. And everybody who's exercising as a Moor has something. And they're doing it not in their own land. They're doing it as foreigners. Right? Trying to disassociate you from your ancestors with a stone fez on. And you're the, oh, well, the lips and the nose, and that doesn't look like us. There's a fez on. What are you talking about? And we know that we come in all shapes, sizes, forms, like, we look like everybody. Because we're the foundation. We're not late, we're the original. There's a stone fez. Why is a rock wearing a rock fez? Just because they just, just put a fez on this one. Yeah, just make it different, you know. We have to realize, and we have to really realize that we've been told that. This is not, we've been told We've been told everybody's associated with the Moors, but then dissing the Moors. You associate, get your little benefit or whatever, and as soon as your benefit doesn't work out, then oh yeah, no, forget that Moorish stuff because that did this and that did that to me. You're a dumbass. Didn't know what you were doing. That's why you got caught up in some foolishness. You're not studying. But if you studied, you would know what to do, what not to do. Because this not no just do stuff just because, I found out about right to travel and, I'm just going to put plates on and just go out there because the law says that you're crazy. These people are going to eat you. Because the Moorish paradigm ends all Inquisition colonial activity in North America. Ends it. I'm telling you. Because I put down my nationality card and get taxes off. I'm telling you. And it's not sit down there for an hour trying to convince them of nothing. There's no resistance. And they do what they're supposed to do. Right? But then everybody's complaining about taxes and stuff. And I just told you, I put down a nationality card and don't pay taxes. Well, what more do you want? Well, could you do it? Could you use it to do this? If I could use it to do that, I would be doing that. For now, I could put it down and get taxes off. So we're going to chill on that for a little bit and make that precedent. And then we go to the next thing. And then the more thinking people that realize, hold on a second, that really makes a lot of sense. Why are we going to go and pay these guys to get licenses from them when we could come together and license ourselves? Well, you can't do that as black or whatever. Or you can't do that as the African, whatever, the sovereign, you know what I mean? The whatever you call yourself. You can't do it as that. You better be dealing with nationality and birthrights. Noble Drew Ali is the founder of the resurrection of the Moorish mentality in the North Gate. Go to one of the other master teachers again, Jose Pimenta Bay, our fellow children of the New World. Don't forget, liking's cheap. So don't click and like and stuff like that. Go buy the book. Right? So you can know that you're Moors. You're Moors. I don't care who lied to you, tell you whatever, or Moor means whatever, you're Moors. You could take that and do something with it, or leave it alone and continue in the enslavement. Because everything that's in enslavement right now is heading to those camps. Because, they don't know what's coming. They think everything's good. They think everything's good until they challenge you on what's your nationality. And you can't answer, then like, you're stuck if you can't answer, much less put out something show. Right? Page 35. Some medieval and post-medieval European descriptions concerning the Moorish identity and dominions. Alfonso X wrote in the 13th century. All Moorish soldiers were dressed with silk and black wool, that had been forcibly acquired. Their black faces were like pitch, and the most handsome of them was as black as a cooking pan. Right? He could say that they're black all that he wants. He did say that they're Moorish though, even though he called them black. He didn't disassociate black from Moorish. He said the Moorish soldiers, like if you say the German soldiers or the French soldiers, the Moorish soldiers were black as pitch. But if you ask a soldier what he is, he's not going to say I'm black as pitch. He's going to say I'm Moorish or I'm Moor. That's the mentality that you have to have with this. Not just justifying why do I call myself a Moor because black says what. What are you talking about? Everybody knows, and we're playing around. This famed 13th century Catholic monarch's description of the 8th century Moorish occupation of Iberia illustrates the obvious Africoid phenotype of the Moors. So the phenotype can be described as African, but the people are Moors. It is also apparent that the king too recognized the national name of the African invaders as Moros, Moors. The king recognized the African invaders as Moors. Doesn't that tell you that Africans are Moors? In a 1497 account, we see evidence that medieval Europeans recognized that the domains of the Moors went far back beyond the boundaries of the western Maghreb. The Portuguese explorer Vasco da Gama spoke of Mozambique Island, Africa, as having Moors. Mozambique we're talking about. And this is a Portuguese explorer. Spoke of Mozambique Island, Southern Africa, having Moors with a ruddy, healthy red, dark complexion and being well made. Da Gama also spoke of white Moors, which Davidson brackets as Indians, presumably East Indians. Don't talk about no Europeans, when they say white ones. Duarte Barbosa, another Portuguese, visited the eastern coast of Africa first in 1500 and last in 1518. At Sofala, he says, these Moors are black, and some of them tawny. Some of them speak Arabic, but the more part use the language of the country. They clothe themselves from waist down with cotton and silk cloths, and other cloths they wear over their shoulders like capes, and turbans on their heads. The Portuguese constantly used the term Moor to describe the Africans they saw. Even their attire was consistent with what the Portuguese recognized as quote-unquote Moorish. Naturally, complexions varied, but the Portuguese still recognized such peoples essentially as the same Moors. They did not call these African people Negroes. A well-traveled Portuguese would have undoubtedly known who a Moor was. After all, the Portuguese had sojourned from their native country, which was itself a highly Africanized kingdom, with a long history of intensive relations with the Afro-Asian settlers that were the Moors. Right? So this term constantly coming up about Moors, right? Always. It's a theme, right? It's a theme. When speaking of the Moors of Zambezi, Angola, and Kilwa, Barbosa informs us there are some fair and some black. They are finely clad. The towns of Mombasa, Mogadishu, Mafia, Malindi, Zanzibar, and Pemba are specifically described by Duarte as Moorish towns and occupied by Moors. Everybody knows what's up. Duarte said that sometimes the Moors were Arabic speakers and Muslims, but other times they were neither. Right? For all those ones in the, well, if I be a Moor, does that mean I have to study Islam? Duarte said that sometimes the Moors were Arabic speakers and Muslims, but other times they were neither. So no, if you say you're Moor, you don't have to follow Islam, because it's a nationality. And you be whatever religion you want to. But just make sure you know that you're not following some political system that you assume is a religion, get yourself enslaved, and then say that the Moors told you to go join some whatever. Because we never told you to go join anything. We lay out everything for you, who the prophet is, and so you're talking about following Islam and all this stuff. Told you that it's Islamism. Muslims versus Muslims. Right? Duarte referred to Mogadishu as a great Moorish town, which had people who were for the most part brown and black, but a few are fair in color. He says they speak Arabic. From such Portuguese accounts, it is clearly that Africa's Moors possessed various hues. It should be obvious from these early Portuguese accounts that the term Moor was understood to be a reference to Africoid-looking or African people, although Moor may have been also applied to East Indians. My guess is that it was commonly used for those East Indians with the more Dravidian dark-skin features. The Webster's Third International Dictionary of the English Language helps to make the point. It defines nigger as an alternative of neger or Niger, which referred to a member as an East Indian, a Filipino, and Egyptian of any very dark-skinned race, usually taken to be offensive. The earlier Portuguese accounts and descriptions noted above also indicate the Portuguese awareness that Moors were found throughout the world and not just in Muslim Northwest Africa or Andalusia. Like most Europeans of the era, the English too understood the historic Africanity of the Moors and the various peoples and locales to which they were ancestrally linked. In 16th century, English chronicler John Locke, L.O.K., offered a revealing descriptive of the Moors. Locke stated, "The people which now inhabit the regions of the coast of Guinea and the middle parts of Africa, as Libya, the inner, and Nubia, with divers other great and large regions, about the same, were in old times called Ethiops, or Negritas, which we now call Moors, Morans, or Negroes, scorched and vexed with the heat of the sun." Again, we see the extension of Moorish domains outside of the Maghreb, Northwest Africa. Locke speaks of Guinea, Central Africa, and East Africa as Moorish dominions. Other scholars evidence places Moorish dominions beyond the often assumed limits of northwest Africa. The British Orientalist de Clacy O'Leary, D-E space L-A-C-Y O'Leary, provides a relevant and revealing etymology of the word Africa. O'Leary asserts that the term Africa came from Ifriqiya, I-F-R-I-K-I-Y-A, which was an ancient Greek name given to the province which lay next to Egypt. That province of Ifriqiya now encompasses the modern states of Libya, Tunis, and the eastern part of Algeria up to the Mediterranean of Bougie. O'Leary adds that the western land or Maghreb was divided into two districts. Central Maghreb extended from the borders of Afriqiya across the greater part of Algeria and the eastern third of Morocco, and further Maghreb, which spread beyond the Atlantic coast. With regard to O'Leary's reference to beyond the Atlantic coast, we can only assume that he means the West African coast. However, he doesn't specifically address how far quote-unquote beyond. A look at many medieval European representations of Moors in art and literature reveals that the Moors differed in physical appearance about as much as African Americans do today. But when one sees the artistic renderings of Moors in such books of heraldry and those of Charles A. Fox Davies, and James Fairbairn, F-A-I-R-B-A-I-R-N, F-A-I-R-B-A-I-R-N, James Fairbairn, it is evident that the standard of a Moor was most often very dark-skinned and woolly hair. Shakespeare's famed tragedy Othello was intended to reflect a distinctly African man, not a Caucasian Arab, as so many European academics would try later to claim. So everybody knows what's up. All those people out in Africa and call themselves Sudanese or whatever, they know that they're Moors. But they can't tell Negro, black, colored people anything because Negro, black, colored people are property of the U.S. and all its sub-corporations, including Canada. And, you know, tough luck. You sit there, you get taxed and all that stuff, right? And let it be what it is. Because obviously you want your birthright, because we've been telling you, you know, all these books and, you know what I mean, shelves and, you know what I mean, videos upon videos, right? What's going on is disassociation. Right? And that was just like 2 pages in that book. And it spoke on that perspective about the Moors. Not what author said, what author's research found out. Right? That the Moorish dominions span across the Atlantic. Same thing that Noble Drew Ali said. Told people. Well, what's their job? Their job is to disassociate you from the Prophet. Disassociate you from the Prophet. So you cannot have access to this vast amount of information that you should have been had, because he told people what their duty is and what they're supposed to do. And what they do, we all know what they did, right? It's in the Library of Congress. Peter Moon told you, the Great Schism, when all these Moorish all these Moorish, right, community members, people of the Moorish nation, dispersed into groups. And those are all the groups that we have now. Those are all the people, for all the people to make sure you go hit up Ali Muhammad to come get this book that he says is not in print no more. This is the book right here, so it's obviously printable. Ali right there, right? So remember, right, their job is to disassociate you, right? Disassociate you from the Prophet. Even though he has a book talking about the Prophet and all that stuff, right? It goes in pretty deep. Goes hard for the Prophet. Goes harder than some Moors go for the Prophet. And all of a sudden, he's trying to disassociate you from the Prophet. Just like that. Just realize something's wrong with this, and you just know this is the last lap. Once you get to Noble Drew Ali, that's it. Like the salvation's like right over there. All those steps and that we had to take, lugging baggage and all that, all that's over. As soon as you recognize that you're not Negro, black, colored, you're Moors. Yeah, well, I was born in Africa. Yeah, you're still a Moor. That's just what it is. And again, take that, and you can run with it, or whatever. I mean, the choice is yours. The black sheep told y'all, telling y'all, choice is yours. You get with this or you get with that. Right, once again, the Prophet has spoken. So this now is from Moorish literature now, which is a secondary book that is articles and stuff of that nature, right? So the Prophet has spoken. All governors, all. Notice that when Noble Drew Ali addressed, he always addressed all. He never sidestep, right? All governors and grand sheiks and head officials may guide any body of Moors of any temple of the Moorish Science Temple of America. All governors, all grand sheiks and heads of temples that guide any body of Moors in any temple of the Moorish Science Temple of America. He or she must be of good moral standard and a heart of love, and their works must be of love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. They are to imitate me, the Prophet, in speech and teaching in any said temple. They must not be under the influence of intoxicating liquors or any other harmful motive that will terminate to become detrimental to the organization. It must be known that any leader is staying away from home or neglecting his duty at home, or must allow the public to know of their wrongdoings. They must forever live the life of love at home, and it must be known by all members. They must not speak rash words or profane language in the mildest form to any other individual, because a leader without influence of good works cannot be a leader. And to be a real Moorish leader, you must study the Quran and divine constitution that is handed down onto you by I, the Prophet. No finance business is to be opened with any group of members of any temple, by the governor or grand sheikh or whoever in charge, without the consultation of I, the Prophet. All uplifting funds, books are to be issued only through I, the Prophet, because that money is to finance the Moorish movement. The head of any temple can maintain an emergency fund, which cannot exceed the amount from 25 cents to 50 cents per week per member. All public collections and dues, also to the supporting of each said temple and its domestic work. No finance books are to be served in any temple except by the Prophet. The head of every temple must by law obey the word of the Prophet. And if any leader or head of any temple fails to obey these laws Embezzlement is his charge, and it is subject to enforcement by the law of the grand body, and the penalty may be a fine or removal from office or placed under heavy restriction of the law. Supreme words of the Prophet Noble Drew Ali. So Noble Drew Ali had all these writings, right? Just stuff for all the temple members to know, what the Prophet laid down. And he laid all this down in order for the Moors of today to get this information that Noble Drew Ali left for you, right? Some people took it away and they hid it and did whatever with it. Some people preserved it. But point is that it's that time right now. All the things that Noble Drew Ali talked about are manifesting right now. It's not even like you can avoid Moors right now. You can't avoid Moors right now. Especially if you have this here already, everything you watch, something is bringing you back to some type of Moorish perspective, some type of Moorish reference point in your mind, because it's happening. Because you're tapping into the mind of your ancient foremothers and forefathers. So your eyes are more open to see things that are meant for you to see, and only you, because you saw it. And there's some things that you see that you can't. You got to go with it, just because you've seen it, just because you've seen some certain things manifest. That's validation. And then you have other people coming on to that you seen, saying, "Yo, I seen that too." Right? And then you have 7 of those people, and then you have your body of Moors in whatever territory you're in. And then that body of Moors, they'll study and study and study and study and keep studying and don't try nothing until you know for sure that I's dotted, T's crossed, and you exercise. And your exercising is going out there and letting these people know, hit up these barbershops and with brothers sitting there watching nothing or talking garbage. There's more. There's a more we know. Link me already, right? Has a barbershop. And people are receptive to the information because, that's their barber. If he's down with this, then I'll be down with this. Because I've been coming to him since I was like 5. Right? So we have to get this information out to people. All the little experiences that you have, that's documentation. That's precedent for people to see that this is something that's real. Because it's real. This is so real that people they can't even comprehend how real this is. Right? Because when you associate with the Prophet, right, and what he brought, and the people who recognize what the Prophet brought and are telling you what the Prophet brought, it's not no high chest stuff. I studied Noble Drew Ali, and he dropped gems on people, and they don't even know about him. That's a problem for me. That's the issue. Because you know about all these other people. So you know about all these other people and you don't know about Noble Drew Ali. And he's the founder of all those other people who you know about. And you never heard about Noble Drew Ali? And when you hear about him, you're sidestepping him. You should be jumping on this just like if you just heard about, there's this new, high school basketball player. Everybody's going to go log on to check him out. You mentioned Noble Drew Ali? Oh, well, I don't have time right now. Just going over there, just get something. Right? And you know, that's expected because disassociation is sorcery. Disassociation is sorcery. If they can get you to see with your own eyes something that is just incomprehensible to you but makes sense, and you don't go with that, that's sorcery. Because there's stuff inside you that tells you, yeah, go with that when it's the right choice. You got all types of bells, whistles going off, right? But prior to having information about Noble Drew Ali, those things just happened, it's coincidence that I just happened to, when you get on more science, stuff starts happening for real that you can see. Just things happening. Just talk to Moors. A lot of people on Facebook or whatever bickering about stupidness or whatever. Send some messages to some people. Forget liking their stuff. Send a brother a message, ask him a question. Because I guarantee you, if he's on the frequency of more science, he experienced stuff already. That's why we put on Moors like Casanova Bay and Grand Sheik Messiah, Jabbar, Gainesville, and these Moors. What are you putting them on for? Because, they got some stuff for y'all. You know, they got some stuff. They got some stuff. Deal with those Moors all the time, and they got, right? But, some people are compromised. Because the stuff that they know, they were connected to that during their disassociation. So now that they're associating with the Prophet, they have to be real. They have to be real tight with it, because you don't want to step on no toes. Because that's how detrimental this information is. That it could be free reign, and then you step on one person's toe, and everything comes tumbling down. Right? Because the point of this information coming out right now in the Aquarian age is because ain't no other time that it's gonna come out. This is it right here. Right? This is it. It's you get on this now, or you get on this later. Regardless, you're gonna get on this. Guarantee you. So you could be ahead of those people and just get on this from now. Because listen, people call me all the time. Right? And you know what one thing I recognize when people call me? Right? One thing I recognize when people call me, that majority of people who take this serious is because, like Noble Drew Ali said, prophecy manifested that their Moors aren't going to do anything until they're facing the sword. Moors aren't going to do anything until they're facing the sword. A majority of people, right, that we connect with, that come into this new, is because they were watching something on YouTube and it said something about whatever, and that's connected to this issue that they have. Right? And this is not for that type of stuff right there. Even though you could use this for whatever situation that you're going through to get out of it. Could apply things, change the energy, change the frequency of things, because we're more scientists. We can vibrate the ethers, you know what I mean? How much time do you somewhere and somebody walk in the room and vibration of the room changes as soon as they walk in? Right? That's our sciences. That once we start thinking like our ancient foremothers and forefathers, you would be doing stuff. Stuff will just be happening. Aura will be extending. Things will be starting to gravitate to you instead of repelling from you. Right? prophet, again, we have to recognize that Noble Drew Ali came for the nations. So people have had access to his information, again, Peter Moon, proof, positive, filed in the Library of Congress, and he's talking about Noble Drew Ali like he knows something. How does he know something you don't know nothing? How does he know something about Noble Drew Ali to that extent that it's in the Library of Congress? And our people don't even know that. And this is a European that they say is the enemy or whatever. Cracker. And he has the information about the Moors on that level. Like that's the information that he's talking about. There's Moors who don't know what he's talking about. With fezzes on nationality cards. There's Moors who don't know what Peter Moon was talking about with regard to Noble Drew Ali. That's how deep the disassociation is. Right? The disassociation is deep. Because they have to get you to leave Noble Drew Ali alone. Once they get your attention off Noble Drew Ali, they got you. Right? And they just keep playing that tune to get you to, hey, what is that? Once you do that, that's how you tell people. If you're really serious, you want to study, forget everybody. Forget what anybody says, and just go to rvbaypublications.com. And start at the top of the page and click everything and read it and then read everything and open up all the stuff on that page and open up all the stuff that opens up on that and then leave that page. Or just go over there and look up, oh yeah, right to travel says about it, and take right to travel and then run away and think that, because it's spelling. You're not going to go on that website, copy, paste something and think that something's not coming with it. This is the ancestors. This is Noble Drew Ali. Right? Don't think that this is just, we're mystics. There's things that are making this happen. You're not just coming into Noble Drew Ali at this particular time because, oh yeah, I was thinking about something. It's in you to come out at this time. If somebody says Noble Drew Ali to you, and light bulb goes off in your head, and you're like, yo, I never heard that name before, but I need to go check this out because I never heard that name before. Go check it out. Forget about all the schisms and the whatever, right? Open up your heart. At least read something about Noble Drew Ali. You could go on Wikipedia, and they'll tell you a good perspective. So you can at least, not be blinded, right? Because when you appreciate what the Prophet brought for you, it activates something. When you acknowledge what the Prophet brought for you, it activates something. That's just what it is. It's like, this is inside stuff. It does something. When you put a fez on for the first time, it does something. Something happens when you put on a fez for the first time. And anybody who has a fez, they'll verify that. Something happens. Something that you can't explain, you can't comprehend, but something happens when you put a fez on for the first time. And when you put it on, it's not like, putting something on your head. There's something internal that lines up, that connects up when you actually adorn this headwear for the first time. Right? Serious ritual. And Noble Drew Ali came to make sure that we knew about all the rituals and know what is up. Because everybody is on this. All these so-called all these so-called entertainers, whoever, European people who are denouncing their U.S. citizenship. What do you think they're doing? You think they're saying, oh no, I don't want nothing to do with the United States because, they're just, corrupt and or whatever. No, they're nationalizing. They're proclaiming their nationality. That's what they're doing. They're not denouncing the United States because it's a fraud. Is it the 1930? Like everybody knows that's a fraud. You don't have to denounce that. I'm not seeing them file no UCC one and whatever like that. They proclaim their nationality and then go back to where they came from. Right? And take all their stuff with them. Why are they taking all their stuff with them? Because they don't want the U.S. to get it. That had them as listed as a corporation. That's taxable. So they take all their stuff. Why? Because nationality is the order of the day. And once you nationalize, then you nationalize everything else that you got. Just like Europeans are doing. They're not saying they're Swiss and that they're this and they're that. And they're not United States citizens no more. And nobody's not coming to assassinate them. Nobody's coming to do nothing to them. Why? Because they leave. The difference with us is that we don't have to go anywhere. You understand that? They leave when they nationalize. I think Noble Drew Ali said everybody proclaim their nationality. Because once we proclaim ours, then we get out of the dead status. And once we get out of the dead status, then we're going to be the majority again. And then once we're the majority, everybody has to go back where they come from because, we got our own people to feed here. We can't be feeding you people. We've been feeding y'all for the past 600, 700 years. So now that we're nationalized and we're in control of our land, everybody has to go home right now. And nothing's wrong with that. It's not racism. It's not, we're trying to, no. We are the authority. Why are we the authority? That's like when Moors, once again, Moors call, right, all over the country. People are getting stuff in the mail and stuff's going off in the air like, hey, hold on a second, I was watching a video about this and then this thing comes in the mail one day after. Maybe I should write a writ about this instead of paying them, since I have the knowledge. Right? All over the place. People are waking up. Right? You don't have to believe nothing what I say. Right? I'm just putting stuff out there just because, you know what I mean? Moors call me and they tell me stuff. And they tell me some serious stuff that's going on where they're at. With regard to them and being Moors and experiences that they're having. And they got it good. They don't got no temples where they're at. Nothing like that. Right? And then the Moors who watch the sovereignty guys, right? When those people call, their calls are based on, the taxes and, things of the benefits issue, right? So we want to just touch on the benefits issue, right? The so-called going to the treasury and all of that, right? Let's just keep in mind, since 1993, it's nothing new. Mr. Speaker, we are now here in Chapter 11. Members of Congress are official trustees presiding over the greatest reorganization of any bankrupt entity in world history, the U.S. government. We are setting forth, hopefully, a blueprint for our future. There are some who say it is a coroner's report that will lead to our demise. It is an established fact that the United States federal government has been dissolved by the Emergency Banking Act, March 9th, 1933. Public Law 89 to 719, declared by President Roosevelt being bankrupt and insolvent. It was bankrupt. So if these people are bankrupt, and they've been bankrupt since 1933, right? Just thinking logically, right? They bankrupt from 1933, right? Right, so that's like one point. They're bankrupt and insolvent. Okay. HJR 192, House Joint Resolution 192, 73rd Congress, M Session, June 5th, 1933. Joint resolution to suspend the gold standard and abrogate the gold clause, dissolve the sovereign authority of the United States and the official capacities of all United States governmental officers, and departments, and is further evidence that the United States federal government exists today in name only. This is United States Congressional Record, March 17th, 1993, Volume 33. Right? This is their stuff. That they're admitting that they're existing in name only. They're admitting it. They're saying it's public record. It's public record that they are bankrupt and insolvent. Why you think like a collection agency is going to call you, right, and tell you that you owe a debt for something, right? And then you're not going to do nothing, and then it's going to escalate to the legal department now. So now the legal guys are calling you now. And the legal guys are telling you that you have to do something right now, and if you don't do anything, we're going to take you to court, and we're going to do this and that and whatever. And then people, that's a lawyer, so, this must be, when he didn't say he's a lawyer. He said he's in a legal department. Okay, so if he's in a legal department, and then that collection agency that he works for is registered with the government that's bankrupt and insolvent and existing in name only, doesn't that mean that that's the same thing that applies to him that's registered with those people? And then that alone is an argument that anybody could bring up if they're national. You can't bring that up as Negro, Black, Colored people. So don't go trying to say your name is, Jeffries and, HJR 192 and whatever. So they'll take you to court. Just to get you. Trying to pull some stuff. Negro status. Front. Colored. Being a colored person. And thinking that's a legitimate position that the world has to respect. They don't care about that crap there. They don't care. Right? I spoke with the German lady who said that it's asinine you call yourself colored. It's asinine. The European said that. And she straight said, I'm not white. I'm German. I'm not black. I'm a Moor. Like, yeah. So that's what we call you in Germany, Moors. We don't call you black people. Can't even speak English properly. And she knows who the Moors are. And was able to actually sit down and have a little conversation because I knew that I was a Moor. And she knew that too. Right? The whole world. Because Europeans, all of them, they're trying to get with, the black boyfriend and black girlfriend so they could mesh back into the pot. So they don't want to be outsiders. They don't want to have to go back to no caves or nothing like that. Or maybe go back in some test tubes or something like that. They better blend back in with the human family. They better blend back. There's people talking about, oh yeah, they're stealing our men and all this type of stuff. No, they're just going into their ancestral DNA and remembering the harems that, you know, they used to have, where they were the slaves, the sex slaves of the Moors. The Moors send some girls over there to that Moor over there, and then send some girls back, and send a ship over to those guys with some spices and whatever because we run this. I mean, it wasn't no putting them on tree, lynching them, cutting people open and nothing like that. They were happy being slaves to the Moors because they lived good, ate good. There's no arguments. It was only the men that were arguing. But the women they were down with it. Because everybody wants to associate with the Moors. Because it's that time now. And if you're not associating with the Moors, then more than likely you're chattel property. Right? Moor is synonymous with African, right? We read Jose Pimentel's book, right? We read the book, right? Read the book, Our Fellow Children in the New World, right? They call our people, and they accept it. They say that they're African American, right? Yeah, we say that we're Moorish American, right? And if African is synonymous with Moor, then aren't all those people who call themselves African American Moorish American, and they should just call themselves Moorish American? Instead of trying to be African American and get something, why don't you just call yourself Moorish American? African synonymous with Moor. And then there's the unity. And then now we could go and we could do something. But no, I ain't gonna do that. Because I can't be Moorish because, Moor and Ish, is when Moorish means pertaining to the Moors. What's the problem? What Ali said, we're descendants of Moroccans born in America. Okay, well, Moroccan comes from Moor before Moorish. So, Moroccans, and then over here is Morocco, so we're Moroccans, but over here is also America. So we're whole. We're it. We're it. There's nothing else for us to be. And if you want to be other stuff, that's cool, right? Have your enjoy your life and whatever, and that's cool, right? But me personally, I know the sorcery that black, Negro, colored, African, whatever stuff is. Because I was in that sorcery there, and that's not good sorcery on my spirit. That there's this group of people in the world called Moors that everybody always tries to disconnect me from, but I could connect with anything else. Even stuff that they can't even prove, I could connect to that. But I'm not going to connect to Moors that has a 700-year history in Al-Andalusia, right? I'm not going to connect to Moors, but I'm going to connect to, this organization, that's telling me that they're for my advancement, but, we've been collecting for that blackboard, for 5 years, and you can't get a blackboard yet. And you're not figuring out that something's going wrong and somebody's gaming you, right? When we go out and get these people who think that they're whatever they think they are, we go out and get them, Things will really start changing, right? You don't need to have, you know what I mean, Cujo's level of knowledge to tell people about birthrights. All you have to know is you're not Negro, black, colored, and be able to prove it. That's all. Once you know that, you go out there, go tell somebody. Because, totally, you know what's coming, right? You put it out there, as usual. You know what we do. You know, King Alfred plan. You always got to go to King Alfred plan, just to stress the point, so people can take serious Noble Drew Ali and what he brought, right? This is their, the people who are in control, this is their perspective, right? Although the social, we'll start here. All science is merely a means to an end. The means is knowledge. The end is control. Beyond this remains only one issue. Who will be the beneficiary? In 1954, this was the issues of primary concern. Although the social moral issues were raised in view of the law of natural selection, it was agreed that a nation or world of people who will not use their intelligence are no better than animals who do not have intelligence. Such a people are beasts of burden and stakes on the table by choice and consent. Consequently, in the interest of future world order, peace, and tranquility, it was decided to privately wage a quiet war against the American public. The American public. I talk about Europeans. They're talking about waging a quiet war on us. Because they know, remember, they study, they know that we're the Americans. And Americans aren't some Europeans. They know this. This is not a secret to them. They know, without a shadow of a doubt, that the Americans are the so-called black people of the Americas and the islands. It was decided to privately wage a quiet war against the American public with an ultimate objective of permanently shifting the natural and social energy of the undisciplined and irresponsible many into the hands of the self-disciplined, responsible, and worthy few. Right? Let's just hit that again. It was decided to privately wage a quiet war against the American public with an ultimate objective of permanently shifting the natural and social energy of the undisciplined and irresponsible many into the hands of the self-disciplined, responsible, and worthy few. They have a plan of operations. They're not doing stuff on the fly. They've put their plan into action so good that the machine's running by itself right now. And everybody's on break somewhere. And everything they want is still happening. Why? Because to get you off the profit, they're going to have you into any and everything. Bottomless pit of nothingness. Just nothingness. And then that's how they shift the energy. Because if you're not using it, if energy is encapsulated in the being that says that I'm more. When you say that you're more, energy is encapsulated. Nobody can get it. When you say you're black, Energy is just out there, and anybody have access. Whoever has the best energy, vampiric nature, would get the most. And that's how they keep the few in power, because all of them study Moorish science, right? We're not waking up black people right now. Black people need to wake up themselves and realize that you can't be an adjective. And if there's no convincing them that they can't be adjective, don't worry. Just keep the temple doors open, because they're going to be running in here so fast, you could roll dice on their coattails. So it's all right. Let them go play their little game, and let them go have fun and do whatever, right? We're not able to, like, the Moorish paradigm isn't to stop the beast system, and you ain't stopping no beast system, right? Beast system is gonna have its beast system is gonna have its people who will not use their intelligence and are no better than animals who do not have intelligence. Such people are beasts of burden and stakes on the table by choice and consent. So don't worry. They're going to get the, they're going to get all that. Right? And that's what it is. Everybody has their position. Everybody has their purpose. Right? But don't think that we're going to go out there and, yeah, the Moors there, and then everybody's going, oh yeah, the Moors, let's go, and everybody's running or whatever to come join the temple. That ain't going on out here, right? Lord Raleigh said you want strong men and women, so that's select few already, and we're not talking about, you know what I mean, like these guys, strong, right? Strong on levels that, those guys don't even know about nothing, strength or whatever. Some might, right? So it's about giving Noble Drew Ali some attention, right? Give him some attention. You know what I mean? Brought you everything it takes to save a nation. At least you give him his 10 minutes of your time or whatever. You know what I mean? At least you can give him 10 minutes of your time. He brought you everything it takes to save a nation. Told you take it and save yourself. Told you. Right? Told you. Take it and save yourself. Didn't tell you to take it and ask Grand Chief if you could use it, and ask this governor or whoever if you could use it. Study what Noble Drew Ali brought. Take it and save yourself. Because what he brought could save the nations. And it is that serious. Like what he brought, nationality and birthrights, saved the nations. And it still is to save the nations. You know what I mean? They even take his stuff and make fake nations. Rep those. Build islands and stuff like that. And, you know what I mean? Have people wanting to go there, but they can't go there because, you only come here if you're working. You can't come here to chill. That's birthrights. You know what I mean? Do it, their birthright. Do whatever they gotta do. Right? Just wanted to just read some, of some of the prophets' oral statements while we close out. Just to bring the noble prophet to life, so we can see. Right? Members of the temple sat and watched a dirty Moor full of rage went after the prophet with a knife. The Moors just looked and would not protect their leader. After avoiding the assailant's aggressions, the holy prophet turned, faced him suddenly, and as quick as a thought, he cast out the spirit of anger from the Moor. The would-be assassin became as meek as a lamb and apologized for his wrongdoing. The prophet said, "I know you did not know, and I forgive you, son." After the event, the holy prophet told the Moors, "I have got a mind to leave you." Then the Moors got down on their knees and begged the holy prophet not to leave them. About that time, a man suddenly appeared between the members and the holy prophet. He was dressed in Turkish garb, and by the mysterious way he came, he had to be an angel. He never looked at Drew Ali, but told the Moors, "If you harm a hair on his head, we will come and destroy you all." The Moors have yet to learn how to protect their holy prophet on earth as he is in heaven. Right? Protect him. Protect him because the prophet's watchdog is an elephant. The prophet's watchdog is an elephant. So don't get it twisted that you could come in here and try mess stuff up and, just, we got away with it. No, you didn't get away with nothing, right? All y'all got it. And, just do like this sailing, you know what I mean? Repent, you know what I mean? Go in your closet, corner, or whatever, you know what I mean? Apologize, cry your heart out for charging people $3,500 for nationality and 1,000 and making them lose their property and making them lose their this and that, and just repent and then come back home and let's do what we're supposed to do. We're Moors. But if not, you're gonna be a Cujo beaten stick because we already know who all y'all are, and we already know it's not about uniting with no dirty Moors anymore. It's all about active Moors time. So I want to say supreme honors to all the Moors out there. Supreme honors to all the Canaanland Moors that's staying on it, because we already know what's up, right? Been studying past 7 years or so, right? Novices, but we don't care. We're novice or whatever. We still do what we have to do because we already know. It's all about Drew Ali. Honors to all the Moors worldwide. All the Moors in every part of the globe that is onto Moorish science and listening to Moorish science and studying Moorish science and loving the fact that you have a prophet and that you have a nation. Honors to you all. And yeah, we're gonna beat them with the ugly stick, right? And also, we want to throw a shout out, not throw a big shout out, right, to all the Moors out there who are taking initiative to make sure that community, wherever you live at, knows that we're here, right? And it's like Peter Moon said, nothing's not going to happen unless it's through the Moors, right? One thing again, let's just plug them one more time. Our fellow children in the New World, make sure you go pick that up. Liking is cheap. You know what I mean? Liking stuff. Forget the liking. You know what I mean? Go buy something. Montauk Book of the Dead, Peter Moon. Alright? Let's show this one. Last Prophet, Prophecies, Hadiths, Moorish Literature, Proclamations, etc. Noble Drew Ali, 7 Seals Publications. Don't forget rvbaypublications.com. Don't forget 9:30 Blog Talk, Eyes Wide Open. Let's see if I got a Eyes Wide Open, and 347-945-5899. blogtalkradio.com/MHHS hyphen Eyes Wide Open. 347-945-5899. That's at 9:30. So, go hit up where you gotta hit up, eat something, some tea or whatever, and get ready for 9:30. We're going in again. And oh yeah, make sure that pay attention to this Mercury retrograde madness going on until the 28th of the month, because it's on right now, right? If you don't know, just go look up Mercury retrograde, right? And pay attention to things going on around you. And don't really plan anything too serious right now, because the energy right now is it's mad right now. Right? 5 on the left, 2 on the right. Let's try to clear out some of this energy and free ourselves a little bit. All right? Allah, the Father of the universe, Father of love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. Allah is my protector, my guide, and my salvation, by night and by day, through His holy prophet, Noble Drew Ali. Islam. Islam, Moors, peace and love. Let's just keep it going, Moors. Let's keep it going. We got this. Islam.